Hi folks, how are you doing? The World Championship match began yesterday, but I think it would be shameful if we forgot about the strong Petrosian Memorial going on in Moscow. There are strong and elite players like Aronian, Kramnik, Grischuk, etc. playing hard-fought and high-class chess games like the one we're gonna see today in Moscow. This was a very interesting game between Peter Leko from Hungary and Levon Aronian from Armenia, and it was played in the 4th round. Let's see what happened, because it was quite amazing. 1d4 tried Peter Leko, and we went for a Queen's Gambit declined after d5, Knight c3, and once again, as he's been doing lately, more or less, Aronian chose the interesting Ragozin defense with bishop b4. The pawns were exchanged there, and bishop g5, knight bd7, a flexible move, queen c2, h6, bishop h4, and Aronian goes ambitiously here, as he should, it seems, in these lines. I'm not an expert on this defense, of course. c5 is more or less the idea they usually have, counter-attacking in the center. e3 and queen a5, getting away from the pin in this diagonal, and at the same time while putting some pressure on this diagonal against this knight pinned against white king. Bishop goes to d3, and here Levon plays a move which is committing, but I think quite normal in these positions, in these lines. He plays c4, grabbing space on the queen side, but on the other hand committing to match his pawn structure. Bishop went to f5, he also chases it from there with g6, and the bishop took on d7 with a check. Of course the knight must take back, and both players castle. So we have already played through 13 moves. Position is roughly balanced. Black has the bishop pair with some space on the queen side thanks to his c4 pawn, but white's position is more harmonious. Black has overcommitted with this pawn structure a little bit, like this pawn structure on the king side may be a little bit dubious. And there is a key factor here, very typical in these kinds of positions, also reminding me of lots of variations where black plays c4 in the Tarrasch defense of the Queen's Gambit, when white is relying on playing all for an e4 advance in good conditions, and whenever he gets that, he gets a really good position. The position opens up and his pieces start dominating the board. That's more or less a general idea which white could have to try to play for e4. Rook a e1, very natural, centralizing the rook. Knight to b6, allowing the knight on f3 to go undisputedly to e5, being a strong piece there. But Aronian has another interesting idea, to exchange the bishop for this knight on c3 and try to exchange queens on a4. So Peter Leko puts a great knight on e5, controlling lots of squares, centralizing, and after bishop takes, pawn takes, Aronian goes on with queen a4, offering a queen exchange, which of course would benefit black a lot. I mean, in case of the capture, knight takes, and black is already attacking, which is basically the only serious weakness white has here. The base of the pawn chain c3. Nimzowicz would be proud of Levon here if this was to be played, and bishop could be developed easily to f5, controlling lots of squares here, and white could be in some problems. Black definitely has the initiative here, so of course a strong and rock solid player like Leko wouldn't allow this, so he goes back to b1 with the queen, keeping control of course of a2, not giving it to black for free. And Aronian goes back with the queen. He says, well, my queen isn't doing anything else there on the queen side, so I go back to the center, queen to e8. f3, obviously white is trying to play for e4, trying to blast open the center. and black is trying to slowly prepare his position for the opening of the game. He plays first king to g7. I guess the basic and the most simple idea would be to avoid the bishop from going to f6 and controlling those dark squares, controlling f6 with the king. Now h3, preparing g4 somehow, I guess, and black plays h5, controlling the g4 square. And really this seems like the calm before the storm begins position, like this was a bad movie, and this is about to be blast open, and black is slowly getting prepared, like sheltering his pieces, his king, trying not to be too damaged with the opening of the position with e4, which is about to come. Move number 20, e4 was played, and really there is a lot to be worried if you're black here, and really black needs to be precise, like taking on e4 is out of question. White has a positional huge advantage here, both rooks on open files looking really awesome on f1 and e1, a pair of strong central pawns, the knight centralized, the queen is also active, the bishop is a beast. This was out of question, this can't be played with black. So there is only one move here, which is to play f6, try to get this knight away. By the way, if you look carefully, you may see that the knight has no place to retreat, so playing e4, Leko must have calculated for sure that he has to try to sacrifice a piece somehow, and the position is really getting very interesting. The cool part of the game is arriving. He takes on d5, sacrificing a piece. Yes, what? It's unbelievable, right? Peter Leko, the ever solid drawish player, well, even he can see these attacking chances, and he sacrifices a knight. And it seems this wasn't the time to take the knight right now. Aronian did it, which will eventually give him a very difficult situation. Objectively speaking, a lost position. It seems he should have tried bishop f5, attacking the queen first, and after queen c1, the engine is saying that taking on e5, rook was going to take on e5 anywhere. This seems safer for black, at least according to the engine. I guess that's why, has something to do with the fact that the queen isn't that active on the light squares, and the bishop is here to protect the king a little bit. Okay, the queen still can go to g5 and try to get in through the dark squares, but okay, objectively speaking, the engine says this is not that bad for black, as it is going to be after the immediate capture, which is what happened here. Aronian took on e5, and after rook takes e5, my engine is going crazy, giving white a huge advantage, and it seems he's right. Not sure what Leko and Aronian or the commentators were thinking about this position. I'd really appreciate anyone who saw this live leaving a comment about their thoughts later in the press conference, for instance. Aronian plays queen a4, which is really not the engine's preference, and in fact the computer is saying that white is absolutely crushing here. But very sadly for Hungarian fans, Peter Leko seems he lost his golden chance to absolutely crush Aronian here, and he didn't play what we're gonna see was it seems the great move, the winning move combination. It was this rook e7 check, rook f7, of course, looking very natural, and the move he not sure if overlooked or what happened there, or missed or something, was to the queen e1 move, protecting e7 and also threatening to get in through e5, checking the black king. And really the issue here, the key factor, I think, is something you may recognize if you watch the video on the game Kramnik versus Inarkiev. The attacks are going very easily against the king if almost all pieces of the enemy aren't where they are supposed to be defending the king. I mean, look at this black rook, knight, queen. Only this rook on f7 is defending this poor king, and the rest of the pieces are very far from their duty, and they are like on vacations or something. These pieces should be defending black king, but they are not, and this makes white's task much easier. So this is a key pattern to recognize in your games if you want to learn something from this video, from this game. And here the case is that the engine is suggesting this queen d7, sacrificing the queen, which means that I guess that means that black is in a desperate situation, and even if that happens, rook takes d7, bishop takes, queen e5 with check, king goes back, and rook e1. This looks winning for white, doesn't it? White is of course up lots of material, he has strong initiative on the e-file, the bishop is kicking there on the dark squares. This should be winning, I think, but not sure what Leko overlooked here, what he missed. Of course it's easy to say all this having an engine in front of me, I know, but he played rook fe1 in this position. Okay, seems very natural to add the last piece to the attack to completely control the e-file, and you may argue this can't be a bad move. Of course it cannot, but it seems that checking there first was much more precise and really a golden opportunity to finish the game right away. Aronian takes his advantage, takes his time now, takes advantage of the tempo he's given and plays bishop f5, queen c1 and rook f7. He just won bought some precious time to defend his king a little bit with the bishop. The rook on f7 now defending the check. g4 was played, like a goes all for the attack. Of course he has no danger against his king, there is no threats against his the white king, so he tries of course to push his pawns. H takes, the bishop on d3 is a good piece, but it also leaves lots of weaknesses on the dark squares on the king side. Rook e7 was played here, and well, of course white still has a great initiative here. And just to illustrate that black, Aronian couldn't make just legal moves and hope to get out of here, because if he takes he's completely crushed. Rook check, and white has only 3 pieces remaining on the board, but all of them are coordinated and on a mission hunting black king. The king goes back, and after queen h6, well, black can try a check, but after king h2 it's game over, no more checks, and while black is getting checkmated in a couple of moves, so this is absolutely over. It wasn't possible to take there after rook e7, but the precise move to try to defend the position was knight takes d5, taking another pawn and at least defending the e7 square, not really attacking the rook, which is going to move, but defending the e7 square from the penetration of the other rook. Rook takes f7 was played, king takes, and now rook e7 check isn't possible because the knight is there, but white has this nice looking dark squares, the weakness for black in the king side, and he gets there with queen g5 trying to get in. For instance, well, the knight is there protecting f6, but also e7 is somewhere where you could try to get in, sacrificing some material. So queen goes back to c6, overprotecting f6 in case it's needed. Rook to e5 was played, now attacking the knight with 2 pieces, and Aronian gives the piece back, hoping to simplify into a holdable endgame. He plays rook f8, and well, you take the piece back. Material balance is more or less back. White is up a pawn, and well, but that's not the only advantage he has. He has much more active pieces, the rook and the queen. Black king is much weaker than white one, and he has a protected passer on d4 in case it's needed. And black's counter play may be originated by this orange lines you can see here, orange arrows. This rook is in open file, so the bishop is looking good there. If any times this f-pawn would disappear, well, that would be on black's favor. And we have also the queen, which could be doing something on this diagonal. So this king isn't that isn't completely safe, but it's much safer, seems much safer than the black one. Still, white's position should be a better one. And f4, of course, there's a pin on the g file, so Aronian tries to take advantage of that, pushing the f pawn. Queen a4 was played. Levon tries to knock white castle's backdoor, try to get in, and Leko says, well, be welcome, but I will kick you out of there right away with rook e1. Rook e8, this is a good move, still trying to go to d1 with a check, as the rook is on the e file as well now, offering of course a rook exchange, and Leko accepts his this rook exchange. So we only have queens and opposite colored bishops on the board, an interesting endgame which could favor white if he's attacking if he has the initiative, because black wouldn't be able to defend accurately the dark squares, but you must be precise not to lose the advantage here, because opposite colored bishop, if the queens are exchanged anytime, probably is much better, much drawish than this kind of positions with more pieces. f5 was played, looks natural. King h7 and bishop g3. Now g takes, and queen f7 was played here. After queen h4 check, king g8, f6. Seems that Leko is slowly losing his edge. Queen g6, king f2 was played, and now all of a sudden black plays king f7, threatening to take white's proud f6 pawn, and the only way of not losing it is to play bishop e5. But of course both players could see here that after a move like bishop b1, not really threatening the a2 pawn, but threatening to get in with the queen through the light squares, giving perpetual check. Well, Leko gave it up and allowed that, and after queen c2 check, 42 moves had been played. Players agreed this was a draw, so really a lucky escape for Levon Aronian, who was absolutely crushed on the middle game, was outplayed with this f3 e4 idea, and later amazing piece sacrificed by Peter Leko. And the pity that the Hungarian GM didn't find the way to finish off Levon Aronian, and which would have been a great attacking and victory of the Hungarian now number one. Well, this is chess. It sometimes happens. You attack well, you sacrifice a piece, but you don't get to deliver the checkmate. Anyway, thanks for watching.